Marty, what happens when a country music icon and a tenacious morning show host collide live on national television? An interview with Chris Stapleton on the Today Show took a startling turn, culminating in the singer's abrupt exit and leaving the studio in stunned silence. This was no ordinary promotional appearance, Mike. It became a fierce battle between artistic integrity and intrusive journalism. The segment began routinely, with Stapleton set to discuss his new album and upcoming tour. Yet, moments in, the host veered sharply from melody to politics, a pivot that immediately unsettled the musician. "Chris, thanks for being here this morning," the host began. "Your new album has been climbing the charts, but I have to ask about something stirring controversy on social media." Stapleton's expression changed. A quiet tension crept across his face. "Well, I'm here to talk about the music," he replied evenly. "So, let's stay focused on that." The host ignored the cue. "But surely you understand that your platform carries responsibility. Your fans look to you for guidance on the pressing issues shaping our country." "My responsibility is to my music and my family," Stapleton answered, voice firm but measured. "I've always believed that songs speak louder than political statements." "That's interesting," the host countered, "because your latest track, Broken Promises, seems to contain unmistakable political undertones. Are you saying that wasn't deliberate?" Stapleton leaned back, visibly uneasy. "Every song I write comes from a personal place. People are free to interpret art however they choose, but I won't sit here decoding every lyric for political meaning." The host refused to relent. "But Chris, with everything happening in our current climate, don't you feel an obligation to use your voice for something greater than entertainment?" "My voice is in my music," Stapleton replied, tone sharpening. "That's where my heart, my beliefs, and my experiences live." "I'm not a politician, I'm a songwriter." "Come on, Chris," the host pressed. "Your fans deserve to know where you stand. Are you supporting the current administration or not?" The studio fell still. Stapleton's jaw tightened as his eyes locked on the host. "We agreed this interview would be about the album. I came here in good faith to discuss music, not to be ambushed with political crossfire." "Ambushed?" the host shot back. "I'm asking legitimate questions your fans want answered." "You can't hide behind your songs when real issues are at stake." Stapleton gripped the arms of his chair. "I'm not hiding behind anything. I'm choosing not to turn this interview into a political spectacle. There's a difference." The host leaned forward, tone growing sharper. "So you're saying you don't care about the key issues affecting your fans?" "That sounds selfish given your influence." "Don't put words in my mouth," Stapleton snapped, his voice rising for the first time. Caring about issues and turning every conversation into political theater are two very different things. But your silence speaks volumes, doesn't it? At what point does neutrality become complicity? Stapleton rose abruptly, his microphone pack rattling against the chair. "This interview is over. I came to talk about music, not to be lectured on complicity by someone who came here with an agenda." The host's eyes gleamed, sensing drama. "So, you're walking away because the questions got uncomfortable? Is that the message you want to send your fans?" "The message I want to send," Stapleton replied, voice dangerously calm, "is that some things matter more than playing games for television ratings." "Games?" "Chris, these are serious questions about serious issues. Your fans deserve honest answers." "My fans deserve respect," Stapleton shot back, turning to face the host, his anger barely contained. "They deserve an artist who stays authentic, not one who bends to every political wind for applause." The tension was electric. The host, emboldened by Stapleton's reaction, pressed harder. "So you're saying your fans don't deserve to know what you really think about the direction of our country?" "What I think about this country is reflected in every song I've ever written. If If you actually listened to the music instead of fishing for headlines, you'd already know where I stand. But that's not good enough anymore, Chris. In today's world, artists need to be explicit about their positions. Vague references don't cut it vague. Stapleton's voice cracked with indignation. I've written about working families, about communities struggling to survive, about finding hope in despair. How is that vague? The host shuffled his notes, clearly prepared. Let me quote Midnight Train to Nowhere. You sing about politicians making promises they never intend to keep, and rich men playing games with poor men's lives. That sounds political to me. Those lyrics are about universal human truth, not partisan talking points, Stapleton said tightly. Good music transcends politics. It reaches deeper than the day's headlines. So you believe your art is above politics? That's naive for someone who's seen as much as you have. Stapleton's fists clenched. I believe my music is about truth, not politics. There's a difference between writing about struggle and pandering for applause. The host leaned in, predatory. But isn't silence in the face of injustice a form of privilege? You have millions of fans, and you're choosing comfort over courage. Comfort? Stapleton laughed bitterly. You think this is comfortable? Having my integrity questioned on live television? Your integrity is exactly what I'm questioning, the host countered. Can you claim to care about working families while refusing to take a stand on the policies affecting them? The words hit like a blow. Stapleton's face flushed crimson. You have no idea what I care about or how I choose to make a difference. Then enlighten us, the host said coldly. Tell your fans where you stand on healthcare, immigration, economic reform. Use this platform for something real, not just to sell records. Everything I do is real, Stapleton shot back. Every song, every show, every moment of connection matters. Just because I don't turn my art into a political billboard doesn't mean I'm not making a difference. The host reclined smugly. But art without action is just entertainment, isn't it? When will you stop hiding behind your guitar and start taking responsibility for your influence? Stapleton stepped closer, voice low and dangerous. Don't you dare tell me what responsibility looks like. I've spent my career writing songs that pull people through their darkest nights. I've raised money for disaster relief, supported veterans, lifted up other artists. But I suppose none of that matters because I won't feed you a soundbite. Those are noble things, Chris, the host said coolly. But they're also safe. They don't challenge your comfortable position. Safe? Stapleton's voice thundered, echoing through the studio. You think it's safe to bare your soul in front of millions? To have every lyric dissected? That's not safe. That's courage. I think it's safe to avoid taking sides, the host replied. Safe to let others fight the hard battles while you profit from neutrality. Stapleton's entire body tensed. You have no idea what battles I fight or what I've sacrificed for my art. Just because I don't parade life. The problem is that you're surrounded by people who think exactly like you. So much so that you've forgotten there's an entire world outside your echo chamber. Andy remained seated, visibly shaken. Leanne, please sit down. Let's discuss this rationally. Rationally? She laughed, but the sound was sharp. There's nothing rational about what just happened. You invited me here to discuss my comedy special, then ambushed me for being content with my own life. I was asking legitimate questions about the cultural implications of your work. Andy protested, his voice thin. No, Andy, Leanne countered. You were baiting me for controversy. You wanted a headline, not a conversation. The accusation froze him. You know what's sad? She continued. I came here excited to talk about comedy, family, and finding joy in ordinary life. Instead, you turned it into an inquisition, as though happiness requires justification. She began removing her microphone, her movements deliberate. Andy, I've spent my career helping people laugh at the absurdities of real life. I've shared failures, fears, and small triumphs, never claiming my way is the only way. Yet in your world, that kind of honesty is dangerous. Somehow, being content is threatening. Andy finally stood. Leanne, you're overreacting. These are vital discussions our society must have. Our society? She repeated, raising her brows. You don't speak for society, Andy. You speak for your bubble, and that's fine. But don't mistake it for the world stepping closer, she continued. You want to know what society really needs? More people unashamed to find joy in their own lives. More people who can celebrate their choices without condemning others. More people who understand there's room for every kind of family and every set of values. What we don't need are self-appointed gatekeepers policing happiness. She placed the microphone pack gently on his desk. I came here to talk about laughter. Instead, you reminded me why so many are afraid to be honest about who they are. Because they'll be attacked by those who claim to preach tolerance. Andy stood frozen. So thank you for that reminder, Leanne said, her voice tinged with sorrow. Thank you for proving why my comedy matters. Because it tells people it's okay to love their lives, even if they don't fit someone else's definition of progress. She turned toward the exit, then paused. You know what, Andy? I hope you find peace with your own choices. I hope you learn to celebrate them without tearing down others. That's what true tolerance looks like. As she reached the door, Andy's voice broke the silence. Leanne, wait. You're walking away from an important conversation. She turned slowly. An important conversation? She repeated, stepping back toward center stage. Andy, you don't want conversation. You want confession. You want me to apologize for being happy. The audience sat spellbound. Do you want to know what an important conversation really sounds like? Leanne asked. It's about why we've reached a point where joy must come with an apology. It's about why millions feel they can't speak about faith, family, or values without being branded intolerant. She gestured to the audience, many nodding. These are hardworking people, teachers, parents, citizens, trying to live decently by their own standards. Instead of honoring that diversity, we've built a culture that punishes authenticity. Andy's complexion had drained. That's not what I intended. Then what did you intend? She demanded. Because from here, it seems you were trying to shame me for being proud of my life, for connecting with people who share my experiences. You speak of inclusion and tolerance, yet your version excludes people like me. Her voice cracked with emotion. Do you know how many women have thanked me after shows for making them feel proud of motherhood? How many couples have said my jokes reminded them why they fell in love? These are people made to feel their happiness is outdated. And I reminded them it's not. Tears welled, but she didn't hide them. When you suggest my work is harmful, Andy, you're not just criticizing me, you're invalidating everyone who's ever felt seen by my stories. Facing the camera, she declared, I will not apologize for that. I will not apologize for finding beauty in imperfection, for celebrating commitment, for being happy. Then she turned back to Andy. You want meaningful conversations? Start by asking yourself why someone else's joy feels like a threat. Because that says far more about you than about me. With that, Leanne Morgan strode out of the studio, leaving Andy Cohen speechless, his audience stunned, and his production team scrambling to conclude what became the most explosive interview in late-night television history.